Well, I've been coming here for the last 4 years, I think, and this I will need to talk to Burak and changing the name. I know it's difficult, but when Burak started this, it was like a real startup Turkey. We didn't have too many international investors interested in Turkey. We didn't have too many international startups interested in Turkish market. But I think in the last 4 years, today, like seeing so many international startups coming from Brazil, Slovakia, all parts of Middle East, coming from, it's huge. And so this has become the platform, kind of a unique platform, because it's not a conference. It's a place where you lock down investors and startups. And the more relationships they build between investors, between startups, they build between each other. And we always say you cannot just pitch in an event like this and assume you're going to get money. But what you build here is a relationship with one of the interested investors, and if you are good enough, you'll keep that in relationship. You'll keep updating them. And when you come to a point where you say, you know what, we have been growing like 20%, I think let's talk about some investment levels. That will be a door for most of the entrepreneurs that are starting now. And every year we do a post-startup Turkey analysis, and the numbers of investments that are kind of hatched in these meetings, or the number of LP-GP relations that are set in these meetings, or the co-investments that are set 6 months from now, they all root back to this event. And I think in this year, in 2016, although the climate of investments is difficult and it's challenging, it is also an opportunity for most of the investors and most of the startups. If they figure out something now, I think when the economy is kind of shaky, not only in Turkey but in multiple places, they will have real strong opportunity to grow their businesses, not only in Turkey but elsewhere. So I think this is a really good opportunity for most of us who are in the field. I'm running accelerator programs, and even for my startups, these events will prove to be very healthy and very long-term value added. So 2 years ago, when I left Turkey to join King Abdullah University's accelerator to create the accelerator programs, one of the fundamental reasons why I chose to do that move was we didn't see too many technology-heavy entrepreneurs. They were all, oh, we want to do another startup on social media, we want to do a new social networking, we want to do a marketplace, we want to do e-commerce. That's like 3 years ago, this was the case, and I left. And I've been coming here every year since then, and every year, the number of technical-heavy startups have been increasing. Before, there were programs especially funded by the National Science Foundation, by TÜBİTAK, but those were always RG on research and development funds. The teams were young entrepreneurs who were really trying to do an R&D project, not a startup. And in the last couple of years, most of the universities have started to build stronger programs directed to those IP-heavy, technology-heavy teams and taught them to become startups. So there are a couple of universities that are doing it very nicely. There are a couple of private incubators, and Burak has upped the game a lot by allowing lots of integrations to happen. So for me, I am more interested in heavy technology startups, because in the university that I work for, we have PhD students and master students primarily that are doing research, that are inventing the next technologies on many different levels, in IoT, in nanotechnologies, in robotics. So the more I start seeing those kind of technology-heavy or differentiating point creator startups or unique value propositions, the more I start seeing full-time entrepreneurs instead of this, what I call half-ass entrepreneurs. Like, I am working in a company, I'm still a student, I don't want to quit my job, but here's a good idea. If you give me money, I'll quit my job. I think we cut that bullshit significantly, and now we see it's not a bad thing to build a lifestyle business, but that's not a startup we want to create. We want to see high growth potential, high impact creating, scalable, geographically expandable startups, and technology enables that. So the more I see analytics companies on social media, but not a new social media platform, the more I see a drone company, but not just a small IoT device, the more I see smart houses, appliances, rather than a new marketplace, I get really happier. This year, there was 59, I think, startups that pitched. And this is the first year that the number of startups that I wanted to talk, that I gave my card on the spot, is now double digit. This is good, because now with the connections that the university I work for has and the potential of new embedded technologies, I will be able to go back to these startups and say, here's another value proposition. Here's a PhD student that's working on the same project. Here's a master's student that has an IoT company. And that's going to increase a lot of value. And one good thing is, I think in the last couple of years, the amount of funding has been limited for multiple reasons, for the economy, for politics, whatever. And these teams have figured out ways to earn money.
Yeah.
So this is I think in Startup Istanbul, I felt the same this last year's Startup Istanbul. And now we have more startups coming and can really show traction. I'm already in the market, I'm selling 10,000 units. I'm already in the market, I have 50,000 page views. I'm already in the market, I am actually making money. And it means they really worked hard to prove that the business models work. And when they come on stage and say, I got this working, but now I need investments, it's much a healthier discussion with the investors. Yeah, I need to grow, and yes, that's why I'm investing. But if you don't give me the money, I'm not asking for that, because I'm going to keep growing my business.
I can keep living.
That's significantly important. I see it in perfectly said. And in emerging economies, unless there are startups who keep on increasing their sales figures, proving more business models, the tangibility of the businesses, the more we'll start really seeing impact. And then the investors will go, yes, 2 years ago we were complaining we didn't have entrepreneurs enough, but this year, well, these guys are good. I wish I could have the second fund ready so I can invest. So that's going to kind of elevate their games. I'm pretty happy for this year's batch.
Definitely.
So because of the heavy technology components of the startups that I have in the university, in King Abdullah University, I believe in the divergence and convergence of hardware and software. So there was a period of time where software was eating the world, and now I think that is completely embedded in the hardware as well. And hardware is catching up.
They're like becoming one. You know,
yes,
neither of them are useful without other
exactly.
parts.
And I think the world has realized that fearing the cheap production capacity of countries like China and Korea and others is really not really important, because then you can bring the best of both worlds. So if you're good at algorithms and making data analytics, then who cares where the sensors embedded will come from? If you can compact that as a full solution, full set, turnkey solution, then the startups who are able to do that will be super well positioned to compete with only doing software companies like Cisco and integrators, and only doing hardware companies that are doing consumables. They will be really turning this thing upside down by blending that together. And one thing that's going to be very significant is how that will enable other platforms to integrate. So some of the startups that we've seen, they're building platforms where others can come with their API and make new value. I think that's going to be
the new big thing, definitely.
They will be able to figure this out quite fast. And I think that we don't need a new social media or a network, because those platforms like Facebook, Twitter, those are already established platforms. So yes, they're kind of taxing you. They'll get revenue out of whatever you're doing. But eventually that's not a problem, because now you can focus on what you're actually really good at. And the differentiating points of great software developers and great hardware designers and integrators and user interface, user experience embedded in those products. I've seen a couple of really, really good looking products. There are a couple of IoT services and a couple of cameras, and especially in different sectors like agriculture and weather sensing for insurance. Those are really going to change the big company mindsets, and then we'll see these companies eating out of market share, selling to large companies, and maybe then we'll see some level of acquisition from the Turkish or the regional big holding companies, because they will realize, okay, yes, I am Sabancı Holding, I have a bank and an insurance company, but I'm started taking all my data from the startup, which is 3 years old. Why do I do that? Maybe they'll go and buy that company out, and that's what we're lacking. I think the next stage, which to the last point maybe, this year I started seeing more corporates coming in. Coca-Cola is here, P&G is here. This is also a very positive change.
The change.